Neuralink connection activated. Initiating.
When he died in 1977. What he told me is that there's an accelerated effort in place. He didn't mention a timeline, but he said that it was going to be speeding up faster than anybody could possibly imagine.
I wonder, do you think people around the world have any idea what's coming in artificial intelligence?
I think most people have no idea, and many people have the wrong idea.
But you do believe it's going to change the world?
I believe it's going to change the world more than anything in the history of mankind, more than electricity. The challenge of AI is this 40%, whether it's 15 or 25 years, is coming faster than the previous revolutions.
When will we know that a machine can actually think like a human?
Back when I was a grad student, people said, if machine can drive a car.
So much emerging technology is just a show, so one can be forgiven for not being able to distinguish fact from fiction. Take this car, for example. Can it drive autonomously or not?
The short answer is absolutely. What you're looking at is the Waymo driver in action. Adapted for a variety of vehicle platforms, it is the most advanced, fully autonomous driving technology in the world today.
By itself, that's intelligence. Now we say that's not enough. So the bar keeps moving higher. I think that's, I guess, more motivation for us to work harder. But if you're talking about AGI, artificial general intelligence, I would say not within the next 30 years and possibly never.
Possibly never. What's so insurmountable?
Because I believe in the sanctity of our soul. I believe there's a lot of things about us that we don't understand. I believe there's a lot of love and compassion that is not explainable in terms of neural networks and computational algorithms. And I currently see no way of solving them. Obviously, unsolved problems have been solved in the past, but it would be irresponsible for me to predict that these will be solved by a certain time frame.
The technology, known as a chatbot, is only one of the recent breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, machines that can teach themselves superhuman skills. CEO Sundar Pichai told us AI will be as good or as evil as human nature allows. The revolution, he says, is coming faster than you know. AI systems are teaching themselves skills that they weren't expected to have. How this happens is not well understood. For example, one Google AI program adapted on its own after it was prompted in the language of Bangladesh, which it was not trained to know.
We discovered that with very few amounts of prompting in Bengali, it can now translate all of Bengali. So now all of a sudden, we now have a research effort where we're now trying to get to 1,000 languages.
There is an aspect of this which we call, all of us in the field call it as a black box. You don't fully understand. And you can't quite tell why it said this or why it got wrong. We have some ideas, and our ability to understand this gets better over time. But that's where the state of the art is.
You don't fully understand how it works, and yet you've turned it loose on society?
Let me put it this way. I don't think we fully understand how a human mind works either.
Whether you think artificial intelligence will save the world or end it, you have Geoffrey Hinton to thank. Hinton has been called the godfather of AI, a British computer scientist whose controversial ideas help make advanced artificial intelligence possible and so change the world. Hinton believes that AI will do enormous good, But tonight he has a warning. He says that AI systems may be more intelligent than we know.
Does humanity know what it's doing?
No. I think we're moving into a period when, for the first time ever, we may have things more intelligent than us.
You believe they can understand?
Yes.
You believe they are intelligent?
Yes.
You believe these systems have experiences of their own and can make decisions based on those experiences?
In the same sense as people do, yes.
Are they conscious?
I think they probably don't have much self-awareness at present. So in that sense, I don't think they're conscious.
Will they have self-awareness, consciousness?
Oh, yes. I think they will in time.
And so human beings will be the second most intelligent beings on the planet.
Yeah.
Geoffrey Hinton told us the artificial intelligence he set in motion was an accident born of a failure. In the 1970s at the University of Edinburgh, he dreamed of simulating a neural network on a computer, simply as a tool for what he was really studying, the human brain. But back then, almost no one thought software could mimic the brain. His PhD advisor told him to drop it before it ruined his career. Hinton says he failed to figure out the human mind, but the long pursuit led to an artificial version.
It took much, much longer than I expected. It took like 50 years before it worked well. But in the end, it did work well.
At what point did you realize that you were right about neural networks and most everyone else was wrong?
I always thought I was right.
In 2019, Hinton and collaborators Jan LeCun on the left and Yoshua Bengio won the Turing Award, the Nobel Prize of Computing. To understand how their work on artificial neural networks helped machines learn to learn, let us take you to a game.
Look at that. Oh my goodness.
This is Google's AI lab in London, which we first showed you this past April. Geoffrey Hinton wasn't involved in this soccer project, but these robots are a great example of machine learning. The thing to understand is that the robots were not programmed to play soccer. They were told to score. They had to learn how on their own.
Up, goal! You think these AI systems are better at learning than the human mind?
I think they may be, yes. And at present, they're quite a lot smaller. So even the biggest chatbots only have about 1 trillion connections in them. The human brain has about 100 trillion. And yet, in the trillion connections in a chatbot, it knows far more than you do in your 100 trillion connections, which suggests it's got a much better way of getting knowledge into those connections.
A much better way of getting knowledge that isn't fully understood.
We have a very good idea of sort of roughly what it's doing, but as soon as it gets really complicated, we don't actually know what's going on any more than we know what's going on in your brain.
What do you mean we don't know exactly how it works? It was designed by people.
No, it wasn't. What we did was we designed the learning algorithm. That's a bit like designing the principle of evolution. But when this learning algorithm then interacts with data, it produces complicated neural networks that are good at doing things, but we don't really understand exactly how they do those things.
What are the implications of these systems autonomously writing their own computer code and executing their own computer code?
That's a serious worry, right? So one of the ways in which these systems might escape control is by writing their own computer code to modify themselves. And that's something we need to seriously worry about.
What do you say to someone who might argue if the systems become malevolent, just turn them off?
They will be able to manipulate people, right? And these will be very good at convincing people because they'll have learned from all the novels that were ever written, all the books by Machiavelli, all the political connivances. They'll know all that stuff. They'll know how to do it. You'll hear people saying things like, they're just doing autocomplete. They're just trying to predict the next word. And they're just using statistics. Well, it's true they're just trying to predict the next word. But if you think about it, to predict the next word, you have to understand the sentences. So the idea they're just predicting the next word so they're not intelligent is crazy. You have to be really intelligent to predict the next word really accurately.
To prove it, Hinton showed us a test he devised for ChatGPT-4, the chatbot from a company called OpenAI. It was sort of reassuring to see a Turing Award winner mistype and blame the computer.
Oh, damn this thing. We're going to go back and start again.
That's okay.
Hinton's test was a riddle about house painting. An answer would demand reasoning and planning. This is what he typed into ChatGPT-4.
The rooms in my house are painted white or blue or yellow, and yellow paint fades to white within a year. In 2 years' time, I'd like all the rooms to be white. What should I do?
The answer began in 1 second. GPT-4 advised the rooms painted in blue need to be repainted. The rooms painted in yellow don't need to be repainted because they would fade to white before the deadline. And
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
it warned, if you paint the yellow rooms white, there's a risk the color might be off when the yellow fades. Besides, it advised, you'd be wasting resources, painting rooms that were going to fade to white anyway.
You believe that ChatGPT-4 understands?
I believe it definitely understands, yes.
And in 5 years' time?
I think in 5 years' time, it may well be able to reason better than us. So an obvious area where there's huge benefits is healthcare. AI is already comparable with radiologists at understanding what's going on in medical images. It's going to be very good at designing drugs. It already is designing drugs. So that's an area where it's almost entirely going to do good. I like that area.
The risks are what?
Well, the risks are having a whole class of people who are unemployed and not valued much because what they used to do is now done by machines.
Other immediate risks he worries about include fake news, unintended bias in employment and policing, and autonomous battlefield robots.
What is a path forward that ensures safety?
I don't know. I can't see a path that guarantees safety. That we're entering a period of great uncertainty where we're dealing with things we've never dealt with before. And normally the first time you deal with something totally novel, you get it wrong. And we can't afford to get it wrong with these things.
Can't afford to get it wrong. Why?
Well, because they might take over.
Take over from humanity.
Yes, that's a possibility.
অতঃপর আমি তাহাদের নিকট আসিবই, তাহাদের সম্মুখ, পশ্চাৎ, দক্ষিণ ও বাম দিক হইতে, এবং তুমি তাহাদের অধিকাংশকে কৃতজ্ঞ পাইবে না।
Why would they
I'm not
want
saying
to?
it will happen. If we could stop them ever wanting to, that would be great. But it's not clear we can stop them ever wanting to.
Geoffrey Hinton told us he has no regrets because of AI's potential for good. But he says now is the moment to run experiments to understand AI, for governments to impose regulations, and for a world treaty to ban the use of military robots.
It may be we look back and see this as a kind of turning point when humanity had to make the decision about whether to develop these things further and what to do to protect themselves if they did. I don't know. I think my main message is there's enormous uncertainty about what's going to happen next. These things do understand, and because they understand, we need to think hard about what's going to happen next, and we just don't know.
وَالْجَانَّ خلقناه من قبل من نار السموم
এবং ইহার পূর্বে সৃষ্টি করিয়াছে জিন অত্যুষ্ণ অগ্নি হইতে।
Initiating binary voice.
وخلق الجان من مارج من نار
এবং জিনকে সৃষ্টি করিয়াছেন নির্ধূম অগ্নিশিখা হইতে।